Imagine standing inside a building while absolute chaos happens outside. Howling winds exceeding 300 kilometers per hour battering the exterior. In a matter of minutes, a normal weather disturbance transforms into a total invisible giant trying to rip your roof clean off and shatter your walls. When nature unleashes a Category 5 super typhoon, survival doesn't depend on luck. It depends entirely on whether your structure can fight back against extreme aerodynamic fury. Good day to our architects, engineers, and builders of the nation. Today we are diving deep into Super Typhoon Hardening, the advanced engineering strategies required to safeguard our buildings against winds powerful enough to literally level entire communities. Traditionally, when people build homes, what's the main thing they focus on? Gravity loads, just making sure the floors and foundations can support the heavy weight of the roof and concrete. But here's the catch: super typhoons introduce an entirely different beast: extreme dynamic wind pressure. What is the absolute biggest misconception out there? People think that if they just use heavy concrete walls, their house is automatically typhoon-proof. But guess what? They completely overlook the roof. When high-velocity wind flows over a conventional gable roof, it literally acts like an airplane wing, creating massive suction lift. If your roof isn't chemically or mechanically anchored to the core frame, the whole thing peels away instantly. This is the massive difference between static dead weight and dynamic wind resistance. Winds raging at 300 kilometers per hour don't just add pressure, they exert exponential pressures that scale with the square of the velocity. In short, math is coming for your roof if you aren't prepared. So, how do we fight back against this invisible atmospheric giant? We don't just guess, we use engineering. Today we are breaking down the 3 golden pillars of Super Typhoon Hardening that keep buildings standing when everything else is flying away. Pillar number 1, geometry is your absolute first line of defense. If you build a house with flat roofs or steep gable ends, you're practically asking for trouble. They catch wind directly, creating massive high-pressure stagnation zones and severe lift. That's why real engineers prefer multi-sloped hip roofs, usually set at a sweet spot 30-degree pitch. Why? Because they let high-velocity winds glide smoothly over and around the building like a race car, drastically cutting down aerodynamic drag. Pillar number 2, we need a continuous load path. Listen up, because it's not enough just to make individual parts of your house strong. They have to be physically locked together like an indestructible chain, from the very top of the roof ridge all the way down to the ground anchor bolts. By using heavy-duty steel hurricane straps, anchor bolts, and reinforced tie beams, any wicked wind uplift forces trying to rip off your roof are safely transferred right through the walls and dissipated harmlessly straight into the earth. And finally, pillar number 3, building envelope protection. A super typhoon doesn't just push against your walls from the outside. Think about it. Once a single window or door shatters from flying debris, high-pressure wind rushes inside like an angry monster, pushes outward on the roof from the inside, and triggers a catastrophic internal pressurization. Boom! Your house destroys itself from the inside out. The fix? Installing impact-resistant laminated glass, heavy-duty storm shutters, and reinforced exterior doors to keep that building envelope completely sealed tight. So, how do we actually apply these pro-engineering rules in the real world? Look, these aren't just secret protocols locked away for heavy industrial warehouses or high-tech weather stations. If you're building a regular residential home right by the coast, or opening up a commercial spot sitting out in the open terrain, integrating typhoon hardening isn't just an option, it is an absolute necessity. That means it's time to completely ditch the cheap overhangs and unreinforced masonry partitions. No more shortcuts. Modern resilient architecture uses integrated concrete tie columns, heavy-duty structural steel framing, and carefully detailed roof eaves that minimize wind-trapping pockets. The whole point? Making sure your building stays locked together and completely intact even if a super typhoon hits it dead center. So what's the ultimate lesson here? Super Typhoon Hardening isn't about wasting money building some insanely rigid bunker that tries to fight the wind with pure brute force. Instead, it's all about smart aerodynamics, seamless structural integration, and comprehensive protection that actually preserves human lives and properties when extreme weather strikes. And before we wrap up this video, please remember that the concepts shared today are for informational and guidance purposes only. In the real world, the safety of any building or home depends entirely on precise calculation and professional evaluation. Therefore, always consult your local licensed architects and engineers before starting any construction plans. If you learned something new today, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to our channel, and leave your comments down below. Until our next topic, stay safe and build wisely.